So in our last video, we talked about using the verb avoir as the auxiliary verb in the passé composé. In this video, we're going to talk about using etre as the auxiliary verb. Same process, so we're still going to use etre as the auxiliary verb and then use the past participle, except we need the conjugation of etre, and there are a couple little special rules that apply when we're using etre instead of avoir. Yeah. Tu es, il or elle est, es. Nous sommes, vous êtes, and il or elles sont. So when I'm talking, using a verb that uses être as the auxiliary verb in the passé composé, and I'm speaking in the past, I'm always going to begin my sentence with je suis plus whatever the past participle is. So if you remember from the last video and from previous times that we looked at the passé composé, we have those Dr. Mrs. Vandertramp verbs, which is just an acronym for all the verbs that use être instead of avoir, that take être. So let's conjugate a couple of them together. Right. We will start with this D here, which stands for descendre. Descendre, meaning to go down or to get off of something. So if you notice, we still have an ER verb here, and we're going to follow the same rules we did in the last video. The ER is going to become a what? That's right. So the ER is going to become a U, and we are going to end up with descendu as our past participle. So I got off of the train. Je suis descendu du train. All right, same rules. The only difference is the auxiliary verb is different. Let's look at a different verb. Let's look at this A, which represents aller. Aller is a Dr. Mrs. Vandertramp verb. It takes être in the passé composé. It's an ER verb. It is regular. So if you remember, for ER verbs, what do we do? Correct. We take off the ER and we add an E accent aigu. So we went, nous sommes allés. We have our subject, our auxiliary verb être conjugated, and the past participle aller. We're going to do something special with that in just a moment. That's the extra rule for être. But let's conjugate one more verb, an IR verb from Dr. Mrs. Vandertramp. Let's do partir. Partir is a Dr. Mrs. Vandertramp verb, but it's an IR verb. So what do we do with IR verbs? Right again. We take off the IR and we add just an I. So our past participle of partir, to leave, becomes partie. So she left, elle est partie. The special rule that goes with verbs that use être is that the past participle also has to agree with the subject. So for example, let's take that last example, elle est partie, she left. Right now my past participle ends in an I, but in order to make it agree with my subject, which is elle, she, I have to add an extra E on the end. And that's only if I'm talking about a feminine past participle. So I'm talking about she went somewhere, or if I'm talking about myself and I'm a girl, I would say je suis partie, and I'd make sure I put an E at the end because the past participle does have to agree with the subject. Let's look at another example. So if we wanted to say we went, we is referring to multiple people. So we have to make the past participle agree with the fact that we went. It wasn't just one person, it was multiple people. So at the end of the verb aller, we're going to put an S, and it would become nous sommes allés. The good news is that the past participles, the pronunciation doesn't change. It's just when you're writing them and you're talking about a specific person, you have to make sure that the past participle agrees with the subject. All right, try the activities.